Dawand, thanks for joining us today. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. Pleasure to be here. Just happy to be out here and playing football.
Take us through the journey. Everybody's going to ask about your body. We'll get to that eventually. Take me through the journey of coming back from the injury last year where, again, there's promise and then you end up going down.
I battled the knee injury last year during the year, and I get to switch positions, play left tackle, and start getting in a groove, and just the worst happens, and it's unfortunate. There's nothing that I can do about it, but honestly, it kind of like not worked out for me, but it worked out for me. I had a good off season, trained well, just lost lots of body fat. That was the main thing. A lot of weight as well, but I think the body fat was a major thing, just so I could just play fast and play physical.
When you break a bone like you break, and at your size, when so much is going to be a conversation of what can you play at, how can you best help this team, how big mentally is it for you to have to deal with that and then worry about your diet, worry about your cardio when you just have a very serious injury?
I think it all kind of play hand to hand, with just me being here every day. I didn't go nowhere else to do surgery. I did it right here with Dr. Voos, and I work with the training staff, Steph, Pat, and Steve, and Fizz, and everybody in there, and it all just worked out for me, honestly, whether it was losing weight or just staying on top of treatment.
But do you think now, through going through this, and you've been injured before, but now entering year 3, which is pretty incredible to think about already that we're here, that now if you can do that and you can get to where you want to get, and I'm sure you're still striving, that if you could just battle that coming off the agony of an injury like that, you can pretty much do anything in this league?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. If I can bounce back from this injury and sustain it and play 17 or close to 17 games this year, it will benefit me, the team, and everybody.
Dawand Jones joining us here on the hotline here, or I should say as we go through training camp. Dawand, now I talked to you after the Seattle game in the preseason last year, if you remember, and I asked, could you play left tackle? And you're like, hey, now you're playing left tackle. What goes – I want to ask you about steps and everything that are different, but did they come to you like, hey, you're going to need to play it, we need you, and you're just going to do as the team asks of you, or you're open for that challenge?
I would say I am open to anything, whether, I had got, bench for a little while, and I was just open to just playing. And first I started with there, and then the off season, I told them, I'll work my way and try to, play right tackle, whether I got to beat Jack out. But, it worked out for me, and, they was just like, how about you try to play left tackle and just do it and, just enjoy it and embrace it. I'm like, I'll do that. I'll do whatever I'll take to get on the field and do whatever I need to do for the team.
All right, the way you phrased it was like a fun suggestion. Hey, how about you try how is it really? Like, did they they're not going to ask of anything of you that they don't think you can do, but is it a strong, like, hey, we kind of really need you to do this just given our state of affairs?
I think they still gave me the option, and then it was up to me, and I definitely wanted to. It was open, and I definitely wanted to take it, and it was up in the air, and I definitely wanted to do that. I think it was a good decision for myself. I like challenging myself, and playing left tackle was already a big challenge, and playing a new position for a whole year is going to be a bigger challenge, and I'm okay with that.
Can you try to explain to us the difference in your feet, everything that has to come together? Because it's tough to move backwards so many times as it is, and then you have to switch your feet, and then you're dealing with some of the best athletes in the world.
Yeah, I think the main thing for me is just the angles. The angles are really different from the right side. We can kind of like intersect a lot. Left side, I think it's like a little bit more methodical. The game comes slower on that side. It's faster at a sense, but also slower. You got to slow the game down, and I don't know. I kind of like it.
How much with your hands are you dealing with, that one-on-one combat to make sure they can't come inside on you?
I think that's another thing as well, is just use my length. I think that's the thing I need to keep working on, just using my length and just, like you said, not keeping the guy from going inside or going outside.
Kenny, are you asking him for him personally or for you to instruct? He's a coach. He's a big-time local coach. And I just want to know if he's going to play this video for all his kids, his young men that he's developing.
I do D-line. So it's all about
so he's trying to disrupt us.
My whole thing is violence and quick hands and all that other stuff.
That hurts.
As you can tell, obviously a very quick person. And
give him a drill. Give him a drill that he can put his kids where. I mean,
okay,
this
yeah,
is
you got a
big.
drill. You got a drill for me? Anything
a
you can think of?
drill. I would say we use the buckboard and just getting our hands, going forward. I think it's over there somewhere, but one of those drills is over there, and you definitely can use your hands or just a pad or whatever, and just this is really the way to be explosive. That's what I've learned. That Coach Callahan taught us that like our first year coming into here, it was just what did the D line do, and it's like they strike with their hands first, and which way we can retaliate that as an O-lineman is doing the same thing. So we start doing the same drills as them, and as buckboard and getting our hands up first, just like them.
All right. Show me my age a little bit if you can. Now, you're only 23.
Yeah.
When you first started playing football, how old were you when you first started playing football?
I don't know my exact age.
Were you young?
I was pretty young. No.
Okay. Did you do hands or were you still flippers?
Nah, I was definitely – I wasn't flippers. I feel like they taught us hands. I think I got big hands, so, like, as a kid, they were like, use your hands.
My age group, we had to do this to people.
Oh, no. Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
That's not how you block.
Well, we're with Dawand Jones. We're at Browns training camp. So you mentioned Callahan, and now you're on your third O-line coach in 3 years, but yet the head guy in charge is still the head guy in charge with Coach Stefanski, who was just walking through here. So talk a little bit about the differences now, how maybe it's evolved, or has it kind of been a similar theme throughout, especially for you and their coaching of you?
I would say the same. Everybody kind of has the same Callahan-ish, things to work on. And, me and Coach Bloom, we get along, and he does the same thing Callahan does. We go on the bungees every day. We work just our hand technique, and, everything's pretty similar in my opinion.
Having Jack, having Wyatt, and, of course, Joel, who we're trying to hype him up to get his Hall of Fame due. We're starting to hear guys like, Myles Garrett and others have referenced like this. It's a Hall of Famer right here. How much of an advantage do you think that's been for you, not only to obviously play with those guys against opposing D-lines, but to have them as a resource when they're in this building with you?
I think that's the major key, and we was talking about that yesterday in our meeting. I was just like, when you guys talk to me and, help me up, like, that's the best, like, help I can ever get, just because I've never really played this position. I've played it like, I want to say probably my sophomore year in college, and that was so long ago in my opinion. Like my brain's hasn't retaught myself to play left tackle. And so I asked Joel and just be like, what did Joe do? And I'll ask Miles and just be like, what did you see on my step? How did you know like you were gonna go inside? And I just try to take those little bits and pieces and just try to replenish my game each day.
How much are you looking forward to joint practice, preseason games to test yourself for that new position?
I'm really looking forward to it. I go against the best every day, and so I feel like that's put me in a better standing spot when I want to go to the games and stuff like that.
How much has maybe changed in not necessarily philosophy, but your focus as the offense kind of shifts now? We've heard so much, and we saw in install yesterday, or in some of the things you guys were doing on the field, a little more bootlegs or whatever. So are you starting to notice any kind of a difference thematically with maybe what you guys were doing last year?
Yeah, we had a different scheme last year, and this year is definitely a way different scheme, and I'm really loving it so far, and it's going well. Time can only tell until we, put the pads on against somebody else, not us, and so that's the only way we really can figure out. But I'm really liking it so far. How
much are you noticing the differences where you've had 4 different quarterbacks under center, different guys to protect? Obviously, Dylan Gabriel, that's a whole new thing because of the steps and all of that, left tackle, right tackle type thing. Has it been different depending on who is the signal caller for you?
Nah, as an O-lineman, you don't care who gets behind there, behind the center. And just like last year, we didn't care. Just like my rookie year, I didn't care. So it's just a cycle, you know what I mean? It's just O-line play. You don't matter who steps in the quarterback. You got to do your job at the end of the day.
Hot weather, cold weather, what do you like? Because it's very humid here.
I'm big on the summer. It phases me, but I'd rather play in the summer than the cold. But who don't like a cold winter though?
You're from Indianapolis, aren't you?
It don't matter. Like I said, I'm from Indianapolis. I played at Ohio State. I didn't play it in like below 0 games, and so that is nothing to me.
How much do you pay attention to Ohio State now? You're 3 years on. Some guys, they kind of like, I'll pick it up back when I'm done playing. But are you paying close attention still to the program?
Yeah, I pay pretty solid. I don't try to like track the games, but like if I do got a chance, I'll go watch them. Like who did they play last year? I want to say Toledo. I went and watched them play Toledo. I think obviously the Teal North game. I went there. I was hurt, and I still went in and watched it. And I was so hurt watching it in person, and so. I was just scooting around on my scooter, and it hurt watching them lose. But you felt that, and they were going to turn it around.
Now, is Kent State the store as the story goes that you kind of took control of a basketball practice that you showed up at over there under Coach Senderoff? Is that true, or is that urban legend? You coming and dunking a basketball and shaking the entire venue?
Yeah, I definitely did that on my visit. I had a basketball offer from Kent State, and I went there, and I was pretty close to committing there. Coach Cindy had me, and it was between them and Ball State, and I like Coach Cindy the best, and it was close to Cleveland. I really already had seen Cleveland before. I had to fly in there, I think, and then drive down to Kent, and then also I had an offer from Cleveland State. So I was kind of already had seen Cleveland a little bit, and so Kent State was definitely like a home for me. And Sully, Jared Sully and his brother, he really almost got me there, and that's what really almost got me to Kent State.
Do you ever think about how your life, how drastically different it would be right now had you decided to do that instead?
I think about that all the time. Where I would have been at. I had a plan. My plan was probably going to go to Kent State for 2 years. Hopefully, be a good player. Win conference and maybe player of the year. I had big goals for myself. Lose weight and go to Power 5 school for D1 basketball. But God works in mysterious ways, and I found my way at Ohio State, and now I'm here.
Dawand Jones joining us on the show. So, toughest question I like to ask offensive linemen. I'm not going to use this against you, okay? I promise you we're not going to use it on the air, on my kids. What do you look for in a quarterback as an offensive lineman?
As an offensive lineman, that's really tough because I don't know. I feel like if I do my job, I don't know. I feel like the ball should be out in like 5 seconds, 4 seconds. So I don't know. I think it's the main thing. Just get the ball out. We got the best pass rushers in the game going against us, and if you don't get the ball out, I feel like that's not on you, but you know what I mean? Like, I got to block as long as I can, obviously.
When everything is as live as it can be, how much do you enjoy or not enjoy at all going up against maybe Myles Garrett?
It is what it is, I think I'm starting to embrace it now. At first it was just like, damn, you got to go against Myles. But it's like now it's like, you got Myles, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's going to make you better. You're going against the best every day. People come up to me all the time, and I'll be like, I can't give them an answer of who the best rusher I went against. I'd be lying if I didn't say Myles first. And then, I give them the second answer. And so.
Did you hear that, T.J. Watt? Did you hear that, T.J.? Did you hear that, Pittsburgh?
He hears everything. You know that. They listen to everything over there. Roll your eyes. It's true.
I just try to go with my conscience. And, I definitely say Myles is probably the best rusher in the league. He's a solidified Hall of Famer.
Dawand, we thank you very much for the time. Best wishes, every blessing this year to you.
Thank you.